So welcome everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening, Badalji.
Good evening.
So let's start. I think we should start now. Yeah. So as I just last checked, we were completing the most important surrender, touching upon this, and then today we have to start from this one. Yoga is effected through offering. Is that correct, Badalji?
Yeah, yes,
Okay.
you're right.
Okay. So yes, anyone who would like to begin reading this for us is please unmute and do the
Okay,
honor. Yeah.
I'll start.
Okay.
Yoga is effected through offering. Yoga means union with the divine, and the union is effected through offering. It is founded on the offering of yourself to the divine. In the beginning, you start by making this offering in a general way, as though once for all you say, I am the servant of the divine. My life is given absolutely to the divine. All my efforts are for the realization of the divine life. But that is only the first step, for this is not sufficient. When the resolution has been taken, when you have decided that the whole of your life shall be given to the divine, you have still at every moment to remember it and carry it out in all the details of your existence. You must feel at every step that you belong to the divine. You must have the constant experience that in whatever you think or do, it is always the divine consciousness that is acting through you. You have no longer anything that you can call your own. You feel everything as coming from the divine, and you have to offer it back to its source. When you can realize that, then even the smallest thing to which you do not usually pay much attention or care ceases to be trivial and insignificant. It becomes full of meaning, and it opens up a vast horizon beyond.
Shall we take a pause here? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Badalji. So let's take a pause here, and yeah, anyone who wants to share any thoughts, any reflections. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go. Again, this whole, I don't know, each and every passage almost that we take feels like, oh, this is beautiful. So for me, again, this reminder that yoga means union with the divine. One keeps forgetting that, one gets so busy in, okay, I have to do this, I have to read this, I have to, I don't know. So just sometimes it's nice to go back and be reminded what it means, that union with the divine, because oftentimes there's this question that why should I do this, because one keeps forgetting the larger goal, one keeps forgetting that why am I here in the first place. So it was good, and the union is effected through offering. Founded It is founded on the offering of yourself to the divine. So right now, it's like how, it's like one offers whatever one, whenever one stumbles at, oh, I'm getting stuck here, let me offer. Or, oh, I'm finding difficulty here. Right now, it's a very clever offering that, oh, I can't do it. Okay, let me offer it to her. It's a lot of brains are there and mental calculations, some conscious and a lot subconscious as well that one knows. And yet, knowing that the final, how it's like, I feel say I am tricking the mother, and it's opposite too, right? Because it's like, let's just start this way, and then that is the result. That is my end. You know how mother says that thy victory is certain. This is how it's pulled that okay. So it's founded on the offering of yourself to the divine. So begins with little offerings, and then that's the end. In the beginning, again, like Vadaji had read, you start by making this offering in a general way, as though once for all you say, I am the servant of the divine. My life is given absolutely to the divine. All my efforts for the realization of the divine life. Yeah, so it's like the general way, because usually we might not even mean it the next second after which we say it, right? Like we wake up or something happens and we make this thing. And yet it's that back and forth, back and forth. So the sincerity, the truth, the honesty comes gradually and, whenever grace wants. But that is only the first step, for this is not sufficient. When the resolution has been taken, when you have decided that the whole of your life shall be given to the divine, you have still at every moment to remember it and carry out all the details of it. So, this forgetfulness that we see in ourselves again and again, right? It's so the job is to remember it every moment. You must feel at every step that you belong to the divine. When I don't know, these lines sound simple, right? Yes, I can do that. And yet it's such a big line, right? Like you must feel at every step that you belong to the divine. I mean, if this was the case, if I would be sincerely believing in this, it's impossible that I will be living the life that I am living, the life that in which, the doubts keep coming. I keep working for my gains. I keep worrying for, oh, what about this? What about that? I mean, how the last passage, how it said that you have to surrender your character, right? So again, if this is there, that if I actually, sincerely, holistically, inherently believe that I belong to the divine, that would be a natural thing, right? The offering of the character would be there, because then it's like this, why do I have certain beliefs, certain desires, certain this? Basically, because I feel I have to take care of myself, right? Like I have to, and that's what we have been taught, right? Like you are the, I don't know, you make your life, you break your life. And this also reminds me, something that you had shared 2, 3 days back, or I don't know, yesterday by Anand Mahima in the group. That it is the fool, it is the fool who gets the Lord. So this thing, like how, it's like I will have to put down my intellect, my intelligence. I have to put it down, and then again, that Kabir Doha that you say that sheesh, you have to keep outside and then enter the mental domain, which I think is so high, so big. So it would not need to be there if I feel at every step, if I feel in every breath that I belong to the divine. You must have the constant experience that in whatever you think or do, it is always the divine consciousness that is acting through you, always. You have no longer anything you can call your own. Again, like huge things, right? Like one was I don't know what to even say. So no longer anything you can call your own. I mean, we start crying, right? We have to give up one thing, one relation, one habit. And you're like, no, no, it's painful. We can't do this. We can't do that. So you have no longer anything that you can call your own. You feel everything as coming from the divine, and you have to offer it back to its soul. When you can realize that, then even the smallest things to which you do not usually pay much attention or care. Now, we were yesterday only discussing this, that how these small things, these trivial comments that arise in that, which feels like meaningless, right? Okay, we are having a conversation and we're like, oh, so why doesn't this happen that way? Why do people do this? Why does she does that? Those nothingnesses, how the roots is basically me, 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 me. Like the whole cosmos should not be working for my evolution or growth, but for my comfort, right? That's more comfortable for me. That is more, I don't know, to my advantage. So when we start looking at these nothingnesses, we do see that they too have a root which has the me as the center. It's a good discovery when you keep stumbling on these things and say that no, no, I must watch what I say, I must offer what's coming. Yeah, I think I'll stop now. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, anyone wants to share, add on to what Taru just shared?
In WhatsApp, few days back, I saw one forwarded video. There, there was a bell rang, the doorbell, and the household. He was very busy, and opened the door, and he found an unknown person standing there. He says, he asked, "Who are you?" He says, "I'm the Krishna. I'm the Krishna whom you have been remembering every time. Please come, and all. So I have come finally." So then, the owner of the house remembered that yes, is remembering about Krishna, and opened the door. And then Krishna says that now I'm going to stay permanently. So I have come with bag and baggage. So the thing is, I think it was done by ISKCON or somebody has been done. So so it was explained later on that they once uh, we want the realization to God and His power, and you will not be able to do any wrong thing, because now Krishna is there always with me. So if I'm planning to do some harm to somebody, I will not be able to. If I want to do some eat some impure food, I will not be able to, because now Krishna is watching everything. I say what I'm talking, what I'm thinking, what I'm doing, and every activities are being watched by Krishna. So I become a changed person, because it has become embedded. Krishna has become embedded in me. So that thought, it is video has been done so nicely that once we offered ourselves to this thing fully, and then we merged with them. That is the yoga. The definition in the beginning itself is very clear. Mother has given define of yoga. So once everything is the consciousness, and that has come, and that is with me. So I'll not be able to do anything uh, mm, which is wrong, or something. So that was something great actually. So I was remembering that video while reading this. So And second aspect, what uh, Advaitavad and Dvaitavad and Vishishtadvaitavad. So the first when it starts in the beginning, Mother says the yoga means union with the divine, and the union is effected through offering. It is founded on the offering of yourself to the divine. In the beginning, you start by making this offering in a general way, as though once for all. You say, I am the servant of the divine. So I am somebody else, and divine is something else. So that is the beginning. So Dvaitavad, there are two. So then subsequently it becomes a Vishishtha Dvaitavad given by Ramanujam, and then at the last stage, it becomes only one. Either you are there or means like Christ says at the end, me and my father are same, one. So that was the final stage actually. So it's very nicely in the beginning we have to have something to see, or with our five senses we can see and feel and all this and all this. So that is why Mother says this is just the beginning. We will be just the beginners, and then the development will take place. If we accept that, that I am the servant, means whatever I am doing, thinking, or my hand, I'm working, applying force physically, mentally, or everything. I'm just an instrument, and it is somebody's will, that superpower is getting the job done by me or my senses. So these are the thoughts which are coming while reading this. Thank you.
Thank you, Badalji. So if you want, you can share that video that you were talking of in on the Friday group. If you wish that, you want to share. You were talking of that video, Krishna wala, the thing that you were sharing. Is that a video? You said that it was a video that was forwarded to you on WhatsApp. You are muted. You are muted.
In the video, means forwarded messages comes. So
Oh,
in
it
that,
was a message or a video?
yeah, forwarded message.
Okay. So if
Forwarded
you
message
if
some
you
friend.
want to share on the group, you can maybe later forward it.
Okay, if I have to check up, I must have saved this. If I have
Okay,
saved, then
that's
I can
okay.
forward that.
Yeah, I'm glad that you shared here.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, anyone else wants to add on?
I think once we choose this path of looking, seeking for the divine, and want to seek the divine, and our aim in life is to seek the divine, then we are most of the time thinking of the divine. And every small thing reminds us that it is He who is doing this for us, through us. And it is not very difficult to believe this and to go through this and understand this. So, in my experience, which I have been having the last few years, let's say, I've been very much I've been very much influenced by this thought, and it's there with me constantly. And I feel that I hope I can continue doing this till I get my moksha, which is what I guess we all are waiting for. That's it. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, thank you for sharing. Yes, Sardaji.
Yeah, Monica. Once you shared, I think two, three times you shared, about Dr. Andretti's experience. You talk to the mother type. Can you please share it again? Though we have heard two times. You
You're
know,
talking of that German girl who asked, yeah, who is a German girl. I think that's what I shared. I remember.
yeah. That one only. Yeah.
Yeah, so Dr. Anand Reddy was sharing in one of his discourses that he was talking, I think one of the things which is very, very obvious about Dr. Reddy which comes very frequently in his talks, is his love for the mother. You can't help but get influenced by that, just genuine like outpour of his affection, and this like just love the mother. And Dr. Alok Pandey also always talks about that. So he was sharing something like that, and then he was sharing that once a German girl, he was earlier used to give lectures outside. So she came and asked that, I don't feel like a relationship with the mother, and but I want to, how do I develop that kind of a relationship? So he said that I told her that just like whenever you are doing anything, you tell your biological mother, like, mother, I'm going to meet my friends, mother, I'm hungry, mother, I want to eat this, I'm going to the washroom, or whatever, So everything that you share usually with your mother, just inwardly you share with the mother. uh, and then slowly things will happen. And then he was sharing that after many years, or maybe a couple of years, can't remember, she wrote him a letter, or don't know how they connected, but she said that I don't know what happens through this, but I am finding that I'm so joyful. There's a lot of joy that is there with this sharing that I do of every activity, which I think all of you were touching upon, that offering of each and every little things of life. So that's what he was sharing, that it
Thank you.
just brought her a lot of joy. Yeah, thank you. I would say, yeah, it was a right time that, to
Yeah.
share that.
So just now, Sujata ji was sharing, so I resonated with this. Each and every moment we have to keep thinking, keep, offering. Yeah. If any phone call, the same example, our Buddhist monk, one Thich Nhat Hanh, shared a video. You shared a video on the session. When the phone rings, just step back. So that time you can think of the mother. Mother, phone adikirde. I always, try to do that. Many a times I could succeed, but most of the times I forget also. But when the clock rings, my mother always says, when the clock rings, no, think of the mother. Every 1 hour it will ring, no? Think. Just one second it will take. She does that, and automatically her hand will go like this. There's a beautiful, remembering,
Yeah, yeah.
way of remembering the mother.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I think these ways, our own little ways, are so beautiful. And later on, I
Yeah.
think we'll also touch upon detailed surrender, talked about by Mother and Sri Aurobindo. They talk about central surrender and detailed surrender, which is what we were, reading here, detailed surrender. So we'll come to that in a moment. But one of my relatives who is just talking about this power of these little habits that you were sharing, that every 1 hour, you say pranam to the mother. So he's like, he used to have a very disciplined life in his youth and later, but now he's not doing very well, one of my relatives. So his brain is affected now. Usual, all the functions are related with brain, and if the brain is affected, then you slowly go down. But one thing which we have been observing is the things which were very deep rooted in him, they are not going. Now those could be also some desires for some tastes, plus those could also be good habits, like, for example, whenever he used to sit in the front of food, he used to say, first 2 minutes and then he would eat. Now what happens, because he forgets every time, the moment he does something he forgets. So like, he's sitting in front of the food and we say, please eat, then he says this, and then he's lost somewhere. Then we remind him that please eat, and then and then so we were just wondering that how beautiful that this habit, again, Hanuman Chalisa, he has done all his life, and even though the brain is affected, he still remember it word by word. So this is the power of these cultivation of good habits which benefit us.
Beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. I think this is lifetime, process. We have to keep doing,
True,
It's
true.
great,
Yeah.
really beautiful.
Yeah. And people say that the results are not tangible, but we all know, whenever we cultivate any good discipline, the results are tangible. We feel that girl was sharing that I have so much of joy now, in my
Yeah,
life.
yeah,
So we know its effects in our life, and that's keeps us motivated to cultivate it even more. Yeah.
yeah. I would like to share a small incident. Just
Please.
now it has happened, half an hour back. I was talking to someone, and my relative, she said something which, it was very hurting for me. I couldn't take it. Um, so usually before talking to anyone, stand in front of the mother, I'll tell the mother, Mother, I'm going to talk. You please be with me, be in me. So today, I don't know whether I saw the mother or not, but I just spoke and something happened. I didn't react, but I was hurt inside. So so I had my dinner thinking of that only. Then before sitting in the class, I just went and sat in front of the mother. There is a book, no, Mother You Said So, by Huta Didi. Your mother answers Huta Didi very well. So in that book I read, through 2-3 days back. See, if you are not able to think other than what upset you, then just leave that and think of me. So that line, it came like a flash. Then I thought, why not I do? This is the good opportunity, no? So when something goes wrong, only we'll, always get upset and we forget her. So after so many, half an hour or 45 minutes, after a long time, we come back to ourselves. And you always say, we are forest of thoughts will come and, overtake us. This time I thought, why not I do this now? So I told her, Mother, I spoke to her. She told me something. I am not able to take it. Please, I am offering this to you. Please change me. Please transform me. I am not going to get upset here afterwards. I'm going to sit in the session. So you also come and sit with me, I said. So when Badaji was reading, I could see that everything is divine. Something came, no, divine gift or something. Everything is coming from the divine. Some one line came. So that answer I got today. This is also the mother's gift only, for making me more conscious, for making me more be with her. It's not just, reading and going, attending sessions and, taking care of other things, but, we have to be here. So for that, this little shake was needed for me. So I got the answer now. Thank you so much. Beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone wants to add on, share?
Monica,
Yes.
can you show the screen? Can we read the line again
Yeah.
once?
Yeah.
Once.
Yes. Yes.
You must have the constant experience that in whatever you think or do, it is always the divine consciousness that is acting through you. You have no longer anything that you can call your own. Okay. You feel everything as coming from the divine. Yeah, this line, I resonated with this line so well. And you have to offer it back to its source. And you can realize that even the smallest thing to which you do not usually pay much attention or care ceases to be trivial and insignificant. It becomes full of meaning and it opens up a vast horizon beyond. Yeah. This line, maybe mother answered my prayer this way. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah. Would anyone else want to share anything more here? Okay, so maybe we can, I don't know, that additional reading we can also take later. It doesn't matter, but let's maybe take this passage first, and then we can take up that. If we have time, we can take up the additional one. Yeah, so yeah, anyone who feels ready, this is what you have to do. Yes, Sujata ji? Yeah.
This is what you have to do to carry out your general offering in detailed offerings. Live constantly in the presence of the divine. Live in the feeling that it is this presence which moves you and is doing everything you do. Offer all your movements to it, not only every mental action, every thought and feeling, but even the most ordinary and external actions such as eating. When you eat, you must feel that it is the divine who is eating through you. When you can thus gather all your movements into the one life, then you have in you unity instead of division. No longer is one part of your nature given to the divine, while the rest remains in its ordinary ways, engrossed in ordinary things. Your entire life is taken up, and integral transformation is gradually realized in you. Shall I continue?
Yes, yes, I think you can. Yeah.
In the integral yoga, the integral life, down even to the smallest detail, has to be transformed to be divinized. There is nothing here that is insignificant, nothing that is indifferent. You cannot say, when I am meditating, reading philosophy, or listening to these conversations, I will be in this condition of an opening towards the light and call for it. But when I go out to walk or see friends, I can allow myself to forget all about it. To persist in this attitude means that you will remain untransformed and never have the true union. Always you will be divided. You will have at best only glimpses of this greater life. For although certain experiences and realizations may come to you in meditation or in your inner consciousness, your body and your outer life will remain unchanged. An inner illumination that does not take any note of the body and the outer life is of no great use, for it leaves the world as it is.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, so anyone who feels like sharing any thoughts on this?
Yeah, the beauty that one is feeling just by even reading the words, I would say is the proof that how beautiful this, how much capacity to bring more beauty in our life there is in what is being said. And, this overall also reminds me of, Acharya Prashant, who, how he used to say that, कि बातें मत करो जीवन दिखाओ कैसा जी रहे हो है ना कि if life is beating you in every day or अंदर से if you're just saying कि no I want peace and that is my first thing, then that's meaningless, that's not true. Like if there is no change in how you are and how you're taking things and around you, then there's something that you're not doing right. Again, these words, the teachings, a lot of times, sadly, they remain at an entertainment level, right? Like, and that's also okay. I mean, but to recognize that for me, it's entertainment, at least we can be honest about that. Because reading does not just mean it flows, right? It takes effort, it takes aspiration, it takes recognition that I too want this, and this is what I have to do this. Like not knowing that whatever I do, even if it's just, I don't know, even if it's not even one step towards where I want to be, But being here right now, this is what I think I have to do, and I'm doing that. You know how we talk about patrata, that making oneself capable, purifying oneself. I remember there was this beautiful quote from Aurobindo, it's in the Savitri Bhavan in Aurobill, where he says that, yeah, at times there would be a delay, like, the light would come when it comes, something like this, but till it comes, you clean your, kind of those things so that it doesn't have to fight with so many things to reach you. So if we are sincere, if there's this aspiration, sincere aspiration, we would know, okay, this is where I get stuck, this is where I'm hitting, sticky too, this is where I'm attaching, this is where I'm hiding. And one can keep at one own capacity when one sees, like a child, hiding. You know how children sometimes hide things, right? They know they're not supposed to eat this. They just hide it, but they'll keep smiling, right? You know there's something wrong, they're doing something naughty. And most of the time you'll catch them, I don't know, either they give it to you themselves that, I'm holding on to this, or you catch them and you look and they're like, no, 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 here you go. And at times, obviously, they gobble thing, the whole thing up too that I wanted to eat it. So again, looking at the playfulness and the simplicity and the love, I think how Sadaji has brought us to that story again, that love for the mother, and yeah, it's so beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, anyone else? Anything to add on here? Okay, so if not anything here, then we can maybe take up that thing on detailed surrender. Yeah, so just I think there's nothing that has not been shared in that passage that we were going through. And as Mother herself says, that these teachings, don't take these words for teachings, they are a force in action. As Taru was feeling, that thing coming out from those words. So they've said that this is not a teaching, this is a force in action. And that's how it works. So yeah, so we already touched upon that, although, but I thought maybe since in integral yoga there is this idea of first a central surrender and then a detailed surrender, which we had been reading, that in every little act of our life, we have to just uh, think of the divine, drink divine, eliminate divine, everything is just divine. There is nothing which is not divine, because many a times we keep bathrooms away from the divine or maybe bedrooms away from the divine. I think that categorization now has to stop if we want this integral transformation. So I remember, some time ago, many years ago, one of my relatives had pointed out that images of the divine should not be there in either washroom or the bedrooms. And I found it rather, I would say I took it with a kind of a rebellion that I said, no, for me, it has to be there. Wherever I am doing things in front of the divine. And that's how life changes. Like Taru had once shared, this story of Vibhishan when he was in the company of, like gang of Lord Rama, and he was still a Rakshasa, and he's eating all the things that Rakshas eats. And then the monkeys are complaining that he's eating meat and this and that. He's not eating fruits. So they complained to Lord Rama, and then uh, Lord Rama said that, yeah, I'll take care of that, don't worry. And slowly, actually, from what he was eating like a big thing, then it came to a little gilehri, then a little rat, and slowly the quantity and the quality reduced. And then he turned completely vegetarian. And then monkeys were, noting all these details, and they were sharing it with Lord Rama, and they were wondering that how come this happened, that slowly he just turned vegetarian. And Lord Rama said that every time he would eat even a piece of meat, he would remember me, that see, I am like this. What can I do? You know the best, and if you wish to transform me, please do that. I'm not able to leave this meat eating right now. So every time he would eat, he would remember Ram, and slowly, it gets totally transformed. And that is how our tendencies are. They take time to get transformed. So first, I begin with, I think, just like a disgust towards myself, that why am I doing this? I keep on repeating this, and yet we are not able to leave that. Yet we are indulging in all those affairs, and but we remember the divine. When we are indulging, we remember the divine. So the divine is not away from that situation. Then slowly, that actually takes us away from those older grooves. If the true aspiration is there of wanting to be, something new. Yeah, so detailed surrender, a surrender which does not forget anything. And that is why we were reading in that passage that even the trivial and most insignificant details become very significant. Everything is holy, everything is sacred, not just the temple in my house, not just one of the areas of my corners of my being. Each and every thought that I think, I pass it through a mirror. Is it divine? Would divine encourage this thought? Would the mother encourage this thought? Would the mother approve of this suggestion that has come to me? So each suggestion, each thought comes in front of that mirror in which we see, and only that is allowed to pass. Yeah, so let's go through this a little, and then we can see what to do. So just this little bit, not a lot. Detailed surrender means the surrender of all the details of life, even the smallest and the most insignificant in appearance. Now we have to see that many a times it can bring us into a trouble. It is very, like they say, ignorance is bliss. So when I am unaware of a divine life possible, then I am stuck in my older groups, and I'm completely self-satisfied as life is going. It's okay. But now, the moment I begin to become conscious of what is happening in me, conscious of each passing thought, conscious of each passing feeling, then it brings a lot of turmoil. That, oh my God, how is this present in me? How is this present in me? you know like Kabir ji says, बुरा जो देखन मैं चला, बुरा ना मिलिया कोई, जो मन खोजा अपना, मुझसे बुरा ना कोई. So in the beginning it brings a lot of turmoil when the darker shadowy parts are becoming like their light of consciousness is put on them, that all that we see outside, the criminals, the sinners, all that is present in me. And yet that's how the journey is, and slowly that we keep offering to the mother. And this means to remember the divine in all circumstances, whatever we think, feel, or do. So see, body, speech, and act, as in Buddhism we talk about, body, speech, and act. So think, feel, and do. We must do it for Him as a way of coming close to Him. And this cannot be said to everyone. Like, this is only for those who are now feeling ready that no, enough of the older life, that doesn't suffice. I have to move towards the divine more and more, more and more, unite. Only then these words will make sense. That whatever we think, feel, or do, we must do for Him as a way of coming close to Him. And one can ask, why must we do for Him? Why not for ourselves? And we go back to the first verse, in Ishavasya Upanishad, where it says that this whole manifestation is for the inhabitation of the Lord, but for nothing else. So if I say that this is my own, I'm going to possess it, not going to share it with anyone, like we do with wealth and property and things like that, it never ever quenches our thirst. Have you seen that? Never. Whatever we try to possess, persons, people, family, wealth, respect, name, fame, property, jewelry, whatever we will try to possess, that, oh, let me make this my own. It will never ever, it will make us even more thirsty, because it is not meant that way. All this manifestation is meant for the Lord. And that is why when we offer everything as a prayer, we find the utmost fulfillment, when our life becomes prayer. So that is why we must offer, because it actually doesn't belong to the little ego. To be more and more what He wants us to be, and not how I want to see myself, because my ways of looking at myself are limited. I see only through my layer of conditioning. But He knows, Mother knows the best. Mother knows what is the best use of this life. So she would decide, being open, flexible, wide, to be more and more what He wants us to be, capable of manifesting His will in perfect sincerity and purity. So, two words which are always coming again and again, which are the essence of the yoga practice, the union with the divine: sincerity, not fooling our own selves, and purity. The whole life is a purification process. Whole of life, because the Buddha nature or the psychic being, we don't have to get it from somewhere else. It is not, not to come to us from outside. It is just to get revealed within us. So just like one of the masters, they shared this example of like a silver utensil. Like if you have a silver cup, on the top of it, after some time, there is a layer of black silver oxide, I believe, that deposits. It turns black. Now the shine of the silver is already there. It doesn't have to get from somewhere outside. All that is to be done is to scrub. And that is what the purification process is. It's a constant scrubbing, constant cleaning. Just like we are constantly cleaning our homes, all of us are. We are constantly cleaning our bodies. We want to take a bath. We want to clean this part, that part, order the best of shampoos possible, which dry our hair even more. One of the doctors was sharing with me, that all the shampoos are waste. Sorry to come to this. That's why I got my hair cut. No, he was sharing that use only shikakai. That only use shikakai, and just a beauty tip that he shared. The moment I started using for my children specifically, that shikakai, you put it in water and it becomes like a paste, and you apply it on hair, all the dandruff and everything gone, totally gone. While on the other hand, what shampoo does is, shampoo first dries the hair and then you have to buy a conditioner, which again makes the hair a little, thing. Yeah, anyway, sorry to jump to the shampoo and shikakai. Yes, where was I? The purity. So I was talking of, this scrubbing, this constant scrubbing that has to be done. The moment I see something which is rotting somewhere in my being, I pick it up. Mother says, like, pick it like a forceps, use a forceps, you pincers. You pick it up and you show it to the light and throw it away. So, like that, we have to, just like we are so obsessive about cleaning our homes and bodies, that is how we have to take care of our inner being. What the purity aspect that Taru was sharing in the beginning, that quote in Savitri Bhavan, because that is how the patrata comes. That I'm, on one hand, I am asking divine, divine, where are you? And on the other hand, the whole being is so dirty and full of filth. Poor divine, he doesn't have any place to come. So I have to keep the place ready. Just readiness has to be there. And just like I was sharing that example of cleansing the silver utensil, that is what is to be done. The shine is inherent part of the silver. The divine, the mother, is inherent part of us. It's just that she gets masked under the dirt and filth of our ignorance. And that is what we have to clean. So perfect sincerity and purity to be the instruments of his love. So keeping us really bright and shiny, not only from outside but from within. Each part, each corner of the being must be under my discerning eye. Is it worthy of mother? Is it worthy of mother? Whatever is not worthy, I keep offering, keep it showing to the light so that it transforms. So lots of purification that Sharda ji was adding, that is the whole of our life. Yeah, so this bit I just wanted to kind of share with all of us since it was resonating with that passage. And just like we often pick up instruments that I want to learn guitar or something, so it's if only by buying an instrument people become musicians, then all the people who have musical shops would be the best of all musicians. But that is not the case. So if I'm buying a guitar, then I have to make a point to practice, 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 practice. So if I am thinking of uniting with the divine, that okay, this is what I want from this life, that's what mother was sharing here, that you have to just do it all the time. When you forget, even after forgetful, just like in meditation, we bring our attention again and again to the breath. We try to do it all the time that we are doing it, right? In the moments that we slip, we don't criticize ourselves, we again bring it back like a shameless person. Okay, got lost, bring it back, got lost, bring it back, got lost, bring it back. So that's what here also, like, shamelessly one has to be doing that cleansing and keeping ourselves clean. Yeah, so any additional thoughts, anyone? Okay, so if not, I am not sure what we want to do. So either we can stop here for today, or we can take up this little passage of empty contemplation. So whatever people suggest. You are muted, Sardaji.
It's a small.
Shall we take it? You're suggesting?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So yeah, let's go through it then. Anyone who feels ready.
I'll read. Did I read it before?
I don't know. Maybe you did, but today not.
Yeah.
Maybe in your
Yeah.
dreams or the previous years. Yeah.
I have empty contemplation. I have never seen people who have left everything in order to go and sit down in a more or less empty contemplation, for it is more or less empty. I have never seen such people making any progress, or in any case, their progress is very trifling. I have seen persons who had no pretensions of doing yoga, who were simply filled with enthusiasm by the idea of terrestrial transformation and of the descent of the divine into the world, and who did their little bit of work with that enthusiasm in the heart, giving themselves wholly, without reserve, without any selfish idea of a personal salvation. These I have seen making magnificent progress, truly magnificent, and sometimes they are wonderful. I have seen sannyasis. I have seen people who live in monasteries. I have seen people who professed to be yogis. Well, I would not exchange one of the others for a dozen such people. It is not by running away from the world that you will change it. It is by working there modestly, humbly, but with a fire in the heart, something that burns like an offering. This is very difficult, no? Generally. Something is not pleasant, then we would love to run from that place. Nobody wants to stay there. Yeah,
I think it's also a matter of taste.
taste.
You
Yes.
know, once you develop a taste for this kind of a life, then it's impossible to take a U-turn,
Good. The-
right? You know, so
yeah.
and if our old tastes are giving us gas and acidity, means suffering, you know, then
Yeah.
we will slowly turn to the better ways. And also, as we were sharing earlier, that joy, you know, that joy aspect is there whenever we are doing anything which is selfless and pure and genuine. One thing which is always associated with it is joy, delight in the being. That keeps us motivated. That there may be difficulties on the way, you know, but
Mm.
we take those difficulties very cheerfully. You know, one of the examples that I came through, it was a very visual example. So Jetsunma was sharing one example where she was sharing that how we have to be very enthusiastic on the path, since this is also about, you know, enthusiasm, what mother is sharing. So she was sharing that if you have ever seen those uh, dog shows in which there are obstacle races and all these, you know, challenges and hurdle races for the dogs. You know, beach mein swimming karna hai, fir unko jump karna hai, and then other things, then catch a bone and, you know, fetch a ball. And then she was sharing that, have you ever seen those shows, because all those dogs are so like like they want to do it. Like they're very enthusiastic about it, excited about it. Like, okay, what next? You know, what is the next hurdle? What is the next obstacle? So she was sharing like that, like in joy and enthusiasm, we have to walk this path. And when she was sharing this visual, it was very, it actually caught the essence of this path, that, you know, enthusiastically, not like suffering. And then you see, she also shared that, have you ever seen a dog like which with his tail very low, you know, and sitting in front of a obstacle wanting to think, you know, whether I should jump over it or not? Never. You know, they're like naturally enthusiastic if they've appeared for the show. So something like that, you know, once we have this love for the mother and mother's work in our life, genuineness of it, then very obviously that enthusiasm will come. You know, that fire that mother is talking of, it will come.
I was just when you talked about that dog example, I've always been brought up by dogs and animals, and something that really resonated, and even what we was reading about in empty contemplation, because we have read, especially in our with Jitsun Ma and with Buddhism, Mother Shriman talks about that most of the suffering, in fact, yeah, physical suffering with this tangible pain, not that, but most of our suffering comes from our mind and from our thinking and incorrect perception and contemplating. And this empty contemplation that we all keep doing for no reason, like what Mother says, that yields no progress. And one of the biggest lessons that I have learned, that what even Mother says, is from my own dog. And she had some problem with her kidney and all, and her one of the legs got amputated, so she was a three-legged dog. And I saw her for 2 3 days. She was confused that she's not able to walk. Like, she couldn't really understand. She was trying to use the leg which was not there. But after 4 days, she just acclimatized. She just adapted with those three legs, and she started hopping. And I saw her jumping, and she could do what everything else that she would actually do on four legs. She could do it in three and more. And that was such a big realization. Not now, but now when I think back after reading all of this, I say, my goodness, like that is the power of this not empty contemplation. Because usually, like we've discussed, that we lose ourselves in the victim role. Oh, I only have three legs, I lost one arm, what will happen, and all those roles. Whereas on the other hand, dogs, or like, I feel that because their mind has not been developed too much, it's such a blessing, because you could see that they're so present with what's there, and they work with it and not against it, and hence the suffering is minimized. So that's something that I felt with this contemplation about Mother's Day, that really there could be no progress. Even with myself, I am very good at it, sometimes sitting and thinking about things that I know will bring me misery, but just and chanting is so fast, sometimes it takes you over. And sometimes these days I just try to say, no, I don't want you. Like, even before the thought begins, I just say, no, I'm closing the door. So that's something as well that actually, the book on depression that Mother has written about. And one of the things that exercises she tells is that you actually stand in front of that door and you keep close it, like physically imagine it, that you're closing that door and you're not letting those negative forces coming, because they are like an entities that come and attack you and make you the host. And empty contemplation is something that I feel cannot let you progress. And like you said about dogs, they could such be some amazing examples of how to progress without too much thinking.
Yes, thank you. So, if we see with Mother's writings and words, we see that Mother did not overemphasize the importance of meditation and concentration. And that is one of the reasons, because with us in ordinary consciousness, we may be, and it's not about yogis, yogis may be, of course, they may be doing the real contemplation and meditation for a very, very long time, but they are doing it. What happens with us is that we sink into inertia when we are doing too much sitting contemplation and meditation. And that is why Mother, we can see, they always emphasized in work, in action, how to have that divine perfection, how to have a surrender in works and not just in some dhyana, and then you are the old self when you are in work. So, and in prayers and meditation also, Mother shares that in the daily acts of life, in the daily interactions of life, through innumerable experiences, these are the anvil on which we are tested again and again. So, which is very important, because otherwise, how would I know that jealousy, anger, ambition, greed, lust, they are still there in me if I don't interact? In my meditation, of course, they may take a back seat. But then when I come back to those triggers, then is my chance to see that how much I have progressed, because they will show up. And when they will show up, how would I deal? How would I transform, transmute, offer it by being conscious? So all that, these experiences of day to day life, and with integral yoga, again, all of us, I would say, are aware that It is this very life that has to become divine, not some other earthly life that we are aiming for. We can't keep this unclean and aim, run somewhere else. This is where we live. So can we clean where we live? Can we have perfection, beauty, harmony, unity, love, compassion, kindness where we are living? Not only just in our four walls of our house, but also wherever we go and touch. So that is what integral yoga. And of course, whatever we change inside, something we help shifting outside. One of the examples, just last examples, coming to my mind, Champak Lalji, one of the examples I had shared once, where somebody to whom he had given a photo of mother, uh, he lost that picture. And when that person comes to Champak Lalji and he's sharing that, I don't know where I've kept it, maybe I've lost it, something like that. Champak Lalji just became so angry. And now imagine, now he's been devoted servant of Mother Shri Aurobindo, like so close, so intimate, all their force is acting on him, right? And even then, because these are old hard tendencies, but now what happens is how he deals with it. He just becomes flushed with anger, red, and suddenly, as if Makali is coming out of him, and suddenly then he just shrugs it off his shoulders, and he says, doesn't matter, I have lost so many things in life, maybe one more. So it is not about these ripples, they may still come, but how do we deal? Do we fuel them or do we just let them go? So that was very inspirational. Yeah. Okay, so any last comments, anyone?
But I still feel that people who are blessed to be in the ashram, for them, uh, I mean, on the one hand, it's easy because they have the direct force of Mother and Shri Aurobindo. On the other hand, they could also it's also difficult because they are not only aspiring for themselves, but they're inspiring for all of us as well, and that's why they're there. But for people who are here, like there is no direct contact with that source. It is challenging, quite challenging. But at the same time it is rewarding as well because it makes you conscious every second.
One thing which I have observed, and maybe those people who have been in touch with something in Pondicherry, at times we limit ourselves by thinking that, of course, and every place has its own energy, vibration, you are totally right. But the biggest of egos are also present right in the vicinity of the ashram. And the lowest and the dissolvest of the egos are also present far away from Pondicherry, just totally devoted to the work of the divine selflessly. So we cannot let this limit us. We must not. And divine, as Mother Shri Aurobindo themselves have said that what, and you were yourself sharing that what matters is this true contact in ourselves. In Savitri, there is this line, and it cannot be wrong. There is this line where he shares that Mother put one portion of her in each being. That closes the Mother to us. So yes, we can always have access to her presence. Yeah. And many a times it happens, when people are living right in that place, ego has its own ways, right? That also becomes a part of my ego. And look, I have been living in this place, blessed by the Mother. You, poor fellow, far away from this place, So this happens everywhere. I have toured many, even Krishnamurti schools. I initially went visiting all the schools, and one revelation for me was that if you are sincere and you want to be pure, you can do it anywhere. And if you want to remain corrupt, that also can happen anywhere. So that relaxes that, okay, wherever you are right now, one can do our work. Yeah. Okay, so let's take one last moment of silence before we leave. Just sharing all the accumulated merit, delight, understanding, clarity, to all the sentient beings, sharing this merit with all the sentient beings. May our hearts be content, minds unentangled and simple, and the lives full of joy and progress. Okay, thank you. Thank you, everyone.